Kosher MGTOW. Ready for some real talk with this one? Well, she's got her fancy blue display up, trying to cover up the 15 different toys that she probably uses and all sorts of other stuff. Let's hear what she has to say. Real talk about Jewish dating.
Flirty Guide to Judaism in 10 minutes or less. So I thought we'd take a step back this week and I talked to you guys about a subject that sometimes gets a lot of really or sometimes gets no response at all, and that's dating. It's not that I was brought up a certain way, I just have always grown up with the belief that if I do marry someone, that person will be Jewish, so I usually only date Jewish guys. And it's kind of hard to date in Los Angeles alone, and then finding single, straight Jewish guys is even harder.
Incorrect. There are plenty of Jewish single guys all over the place. You just have chosen not to give them the time of day because you are looking for the upper echelon, the top of the tower. Plenty of apps out there, plenty of Jew parties out there, all big cities, big events, matzo ball events, night before Christmas. There are kosher events throughout the year. You can even do online Zoom events. There are no shortage of events on this planet where you can meet Jews.
Because they're either looking for something that's completely different than what I am, or they're already in monogamous relationships from college, and it's just that's an entirely different thing in general about dating in Los Angeles.
Yeah, so apparently she doesn't mind dating somebody that's already in an open relationship. These are your Jewish women.
So I've tried the online dating thing in the very Jewish persuasion. Now, we all know that there's things like Christian Mingle and OkCupid and Plenty of Fish and JDate, of course. And I have a couple of horror stories from JDate. For example, my mom actually signed me up for a JDate after I broke up with my high school boyfriend. And that winter, I ended up going to what's called the Matzo Ball on Christmas Eve, which is a Jewish singles mixer in New York at a giant club, and I easily was the youngest person there, felt very out of place, but you know what? It was an eye opener, and you can always laugh saying that I was a Jew at the matzo ball on Christmas. So, yes, there are Jewish dating sites that are specifically aimed towards Jews, and I personally am on one dating site. I have been on JDate, obviously, but I'm on a dating site right now, and I have my preferences that I prefer to only date Jews.
There we go with the preferences. Let's go back to the matzo ball events. Matzo ball events can be fun. You can make them fun. And ironically, they get fun as the night goes on because the Jewish women leave and all the other women come in, like the party animals that aren't Jewish.
Sometimes people are like, why don't you date anybody else? Or would you be willing to date anyone else? I'm like, no. Sorry, I like my men Hebrew. I like my he's to be Hebrew. That's just a personal preference that I have. It may not be an entirely religious preference, but I prefer to date someone who is Jewish or willing to be Jewish to be with me. And I'm not discriminating against anybody else who's not Jewish, it's just that's my personal preference for who I like to date. And online.
Yeah, date. You won't mind getting with them in the bedroom. It's another story.
Alone for that can be really scary because there's preferences that you can have, or you can go completely to Jewish sites like JDate. And if you didn't know, just by typing in Jewish dating, there are 13 apps on the App Store on the iPhone for JDate.
Probably more than that.
Literally 13 of them, including a Jewish-only version of Tinder, essentially. Well, that's what a lot of them are, is they're swipe ones like J-Swipe and things like that.
I think for a long time, J-Swipe was totally free. But again, a lot of the profiles, over 90%, are fake.
No, I have not been paid by any of these companies to talk about them. I'm just saying that there's so many opportunities for me to, if I wanted to, either pay to have a membership to potentially meet someone or not pay to have a membership to meet.
See, originally you said it's really hard to meet someone. Now you have all these opportunities on all these different websites and all these different apps. Make up your mind.
Someone, but it is is in the back of my mind when I date is that I do primarily go after Jewish guys, and that's not horrible, but it's also, does it limit me in LA? Yes and no. There's a lot of Jews out here, just not
Now there's a lot of Jews out here. Suddenly there weren't any Jews. Now there are a lot of Jews out there. You enjoying hearing all this blasphemy?
a lot of Jews who want to date me. So I've tried everything from OkCupid to JDate to JSwipe and to a couple of other of these apps. And you know what? They're pretty much all the same. Dating is dating, no matter what religion you have. And for me, that preference may be Jewish, but that's the same thing as someone who's Christian and only wants to date Christian, or someone who's Muslim and only wants to date Muslim, or someone who is agnostic and only wants to date that, or someone who's atheist and only wants to date people who are atheist.
Yeah, it's called arranged marriages as well, in which families will buy off someone else to make a marriage happen, the man for the woman or the woman for the man. You'll never use that tongue trick on a man.
That's a personal preference. That's something that I take comfort in, is that knowing that the person I date and potentially one day may marry has had some of the same religious experiences that I've had. They might have some of the same moral values, some of the same family values and traditions and things like that. The good
What, they said a prayer over some bread and some wine? That makes them have the same traditions as you? You can look that up on Google. You don't have. Okay.
is about dating someone who does have the same religious background as you is that sometimes you can take traditions from your family and from their family and you can put them together and create new traditions. Or even for my case, I'm creating new traditions with my friends and teaching them about Judaism, not only through Everyday Jew, but through things that are going to be happening, especially over the holiday season. And I can't wait for it.
Are you so excited about that? Are you so excited?
Now, do I think that going on these religious specific only dating sites is a bad thing? No. Do I think they're a good thing? No. I have no opinion towards them because it's a personal choice. Do I personally choose to pick who I want to date based solely on religion? No. But religion
Wait a second. You said at the beginning you would only date Jewish. Now all of a sudden, no, it's not the case. This wishy-washy baloney from these Jewish women. You cannot accept it. You have to move on. Ignore people like this. Red flags left and right.
does play a factor. So this video wasn't necessarily a little bit about history or culture. It was really just my perspective on dating and dating websites like JDate and the JDate apps and JSwipe and things like that. I do find a little bit more comfort knowing that there are people who are like me who have a lot of trouble with dating and maybe are on online and specifically want to look for people who are Jewish. So that's really kind of cool, kind of scary. Do I think it will get me anywhere? I have no idea. But
If you went to New York and went to a Jew party, you would probably get yourself in a bed with a Jewish man faster than you would ever imagine.
you know what? That's kind of the great thing about being 25 and living in Los Angeles is that every day is a new adventure. Every person I meet is a new character. It's the story that is my life. And I really can't wait to fill that story up.
You are the main character of your story when you're single. She was 25 when this is filmed. She's not 25 anymore.
One day with a partner who is Jewish. So that's kind of why I date people who are Jewish. That's
Yeah, I get at 25, I get to ride every single guy's dork, and then eventually I'm going to find this Jewish guy who's going to sweep me off my feet. You watch enough Disney movies, you'll believe half this stuff.
something that I do believe is something I want to carry out through potential children if I ever have them. And it's a definite part of my heart and my heritage that I love and I love to share, which is why I do things like Everyday Jew and why I teach my friends about the holidays and why I'm more than willing to invite them over for an impromptu Passover dinner with a 10-minute Seder before Glee happens because you want to be able to celebrate the holiday and share your traditions with your friends.
Yes, we all want to watch Glee. Can you imagine what's going to be like when you're going to be a child from her, for heaven's sakes? Glee? Glee?
So, dating in general is scary. Dating in LA is nearly impossible. Online Jewish dating, that's another section of the Torah that maybe I'll learn one day in my own life. So, thank you guys again for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Give this video a nice big thumbs up. Maybe you share it with your friends. Ask them their opinion about religious only dating sites and apps and things like that. And if they prefer that over generalized apps for dating and sites for dating and things like that. Thank you guys again for watching, and Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. This is Kosher MGTOW. Avoid women like this and those that are constantly seeking attention.